Meisner, the General Manager for the Outlet Shops at Gettysburg. On behalf of Horizon Group Properties and the Outlet Shops, I'm thrilled to welcome you to the property as we celebrate a very special day for this community and the entire country. We're proud to become part of the continuation of the Living Legacy Project through the efforts of the Journey Through Hallowed Ground. It's a great privilege to be a small part of this historically significant and important living memorial, which honors the 620,000 fallen soldiers of the Civil War. Our guests arriving via Route 15 will be welcomed by 25 rising sun redbud trees along our property's border. In addition, a memorial grove was planted near the historic Civil War barn beside our movie theater. Thank you to the great work of the service members of the Pennsylvania National Guard and the community volunteers who have been planting the trees all morning and worked diligently to make this day happen. As stewards of this property, we will cherish this distinguished honor and make sure that these trees are lovingly cared for and nurtured so that they grow and bloom even more brightly as time goes on. We also promise to ensure that all of our visitors know and understand the story behind these trees and why they are here. We are proud to be a part of the rich history of Gettysburg and extremely proud to be a part of the Living Legacy Planting Project.
We stand here within the Journey Through Hallowed Ground National Heritage Area, the 38th such region in the country to be designated by Congress as such. Within this National Heritage Area that the largest concentration of Civil War battlefields exists. I think that's somewhat evident by the map here. You and I, we are the link between the past and the future. And so therefore it is fitting that we are here to dedicate trees to honor the fallen from one of America's most defining moments. The trees planted in Gettysburg are part of a much larger effort known as the Journey Through Hallowed Ground Partnership's Living Legacy Tree Planting Project, which has a goal of planting one tree for each of a staggering 620,000 soldiers who died during the American Civil War as a living memorial for their individual combined sacrifices. I just want to say that again, staggering 620,000. You think about that. Guys, look at how many of you are here today and just think 620,000 souls lost in this great effort.
We're here today on this very spot of the Aaron Sheely Farm. Though this specific spot was not a hospital, the farm was headquarters of Marcina Patrick, the Provost Marshal of the Army of the Potomac. Hundreds of Confederate prisoners were first gathered here before being marched to two taverns and eventually to prisoner of war camps. But very close to this site, just to the east of this farm, was the Jacob Swartz Farm, which was the 2nd Corps Field Hospital, situated on Rock Creek. Adjacent to it was the George Bushman Farm, which was the 12th Corps Hospital. Beside that is the Michael Fissel Farm, which was the 5th Corps Hospital. Few other complexes of farms saw more suffering than did these sites, where thousands of wounded Union and Confederate soldiers were treated in what we would be considered today the most primitive of conditions. Lack of shelter and proper medical care added to the suffering until late on July 5th, when the first wagons began bringing tents, medical equipment, and supplies. Within hours, a vast tent city was erected in the most worst weather conditions we can imagine. Heavy rains and flooding that downed numerous trees, but also numerous wounded, helpless soldiers who sheltered in the woods close to the banks of Rock Creek. Still, there would be shortages throughout the hospital's existence through July until the last were sent to Camp Letterman, just on the northeast side of town here. The only thing remained were the graves of over 300 Union and Confederate soldiers aligned in neat rows on Red Hill, nearly just a half a mile from this very place we're sitting right now. The 2nd Corps Hospital, just to give you an example of the numbers of dead, 437 soldiers lost their lives, 192 of those Confederate. approximately 1 in every 4 treated here perished. The Union dead were removed to the Soldiers' National Cemetery in town in 1864. Confederate burials were removed to Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia in 1872 and 1873. And it really makes us think of these themes of a new birth of freedom, honor, and remembrance. I think it's very fitting to remember the soldiers who fought and died here. And I think it's also very fitting that soldiers of today's military take part in this ceremony and this great way to remember those who fell here and in other battles across the country during the American Civil War.
These trees represent the estimated 620,000 soldiers that gave their lives during the Civil War. All of them fighting and dying for what they believed in, whether survival of the Union or independence for the Confederacy. As quoted by Abraham Lincoln in his Gettysburg Address, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. We are all gathered here to remember these fallen soldiers. Let us never forget the great sacrifice that was offered up by these brave men and women. This is my commandment, love one another as I love you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. As future generations gaze upon these trees, help them, Lord, to understand what devotion these soldiers had for their country and beliefs. And let them also comprehend the sacrifices made by their forefathers to preserve this great nation. As we stand together, united and under one flag, let us also ask you to heal our land and strengthen our people. Let us also pray for all those in authority over us. And let us never forget these fallen soldiers who fought and died for this great country.